Hello and welcome to Author Academia. Creative writing. Where do I start? When looking down in the vast ravine that is English writing, it's understandably easy to be overwhelmed. Hello? Hello? Oh, this better not be the vampire romance cavern. However, as Toni Morrison, a successful American author and Nobel Prize winner, put it, if there is a book that you want to read but it hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it. In other words, write something you want to read, and this is especially good advice if you're thinking of writing a novel because boy oh boy, you will probably have read that sucker a million times after you're done editing it. Oh, I see. Well, if that's the case, hush up, Fran. Nobody needs another negative nanny. I digress, but I think this is really something worth considering and is a solid foundation to start off on. From a logical standpoint, if you like reading and watching a lot of fantasy, then you'll probably enjoy writing it too, and you'll be more aware of the nuances of that genre to boot. But, I mean, you can write whatever you want. Anything goes. Anything. Even vampire romance. So, for whatever reason, you want to start writing, and hopefully you want to start writing about something you like. Now what? Now, I would say, is the time for you to either choose a type of writing, or to start brainstorming and conducting research. I don't think the order you choose here really matters, however, we will start with selecting a creative writing type. Melissa Donovan has listed 14 types of creative writing on her website Writing Forward, link in the description, and does a pretty good job of explaining briefly what each type is and what it consists of. Honestly, I could go more in depth on these types for literally hundreds of videos. So as not to bore you to death, in today's video I'll run through these quickly and provide an ultra brief definition. Journals are like personal records of whatever you want. They're like a diary but cooler. Academic journals are more like essays. Diaries are also a personal record. Usually these are day-to-day counts, but they don't have to be. Essays are a more typical and formal form of writing. Personal essays less so. Essays usually contain an argument and research, but they don't have to. Storytelling is a fairly popular version of creative writing. It may involve writing a story, and the story can be literally about anything. Poetry is an intense art form using words in a very specific way to convey information and emotions. Song lyrics probably will fall under poetry. Memoirs are like journals or diaries. They usually involve historical or bibliographical information. Vignettes, honestly, I never knew what this was until this video. A vignette is a brief and meaningful written passage. Letters. A letter is a written message. These don't necessarily have to be sent to someone, but they usually are. Script, kind of like what I made for this video. A script is a written work meant to be presented in, but not exclusive to, movies, radio, and of course YouTube. Song lyrics. Yes, writing song lyrics is creative writing. A surprising amount of work actually goes into their creation, and usually they can convey more than what's at face value. Speeches. A speech is a written document intended to be read, or memorized if you're brave, in front of an audience. Speeches require not only good writing skills, but also good speech and body language. Speeches are easily the most terrifying thing on this list, to me anyway. Journalism. Essentially, journalism reports news and current events through a written platform. Blogs are similar to a journal. It's just kind of writing about whatever you feel like and sharing it on the internet. Usually blogs follow people through activities in their lives. Free writing. Free writing is a technique where the writer just writes with reckless abandon, leaving all sorts of spelling, grammatical, and formatting errors in their wake. This is useful for getting over writer's block and creating a first draft of something, no matter how crap it is. Personally, I like storytelling, poetry, and crafting song lyrics, but you can choose to write in any type you want. The world of words is ripe for the writing, however you may go about that. This is an extremely rough overview of the types of creative writing. Go to Melissa's website if you want a second opinion on some of these types, and if any have piqued your interest, don't be afraid to check them out. Moving on. If type is how you shape writing, to use a terrible analogy, is it a plate or a bowl, then research and brainstorming is what makes up your writing, the meat and potatoes. Research and brainstorming are essential to creative writing and are going to be the driving factor behind the ideas you're going to write about. If you want to brainstorm, simply start thinking about what you want to write and jot down if you think of something cool or interesting. If you can't think of anything, then take a break and come back. If that doesn't work, do a little research. How effective brainstorming is actually to generating ideas is certainly debatable, but effectiveness aside, I'll link some articles in the description that have some brainstorming techniques that you might find useful. Happy thinking. As far as research goes, it could consist of anything from reading a book and noting down cool words or phrases to looking up scholarly texts and citing information for an essay. A great tool to use for research is the internet. I don't know, something you might have heard of. Specifically Google and Wikipedia. But beware, not all information is reliable and truthful. Be mindful when doing research. How do I specifically brainstorm or research? I like to grab a cup of coffee and a snack, turn on some music, and just go for it. I know, pretty boring, but it works for me. So go, disperse, search the web, create story ideas, learn about the transmutation of chemical properties of gold, whatever. The beginning stages of any creative writing project don't have to be dreadful and boring. Like any hobby, the people involved should enjoy it, unless you want writing to be your job, in which case I would try to make it enjoyable anyways. I hope you found something helpful in this video. The first step of any project is usually the hardest, but if you think you can do it, then I believe you can too. Don't be Fran, keep your chin up and do your best.